If you see the opportunity and you understand the differentiator that you can offer somebody compared to what's in the current market, you can move forward, right, with an idea and have it be quite successful. And don't question what your buyer's intent is. You can exit any business you want to exit, and you can sell anything that you've created.
Carolyn, it's great to have you on Outsource to Profits. A quick question. Can you tell everyone about your business or businesses? You're a rare and rarefied air where you own many businesses at the same time, and a little bit about how you help people, and then we'll get into the topic of the day.
Sure. So I am one of the people you might call a serial entrepreneur. So since, what is this? In the last 14 years, I guess, since 2010, I've started 7 companies and exited 5. So it's been quite a ride. There's a story behind all of them, right? They have nothing to do with each other. It's everything from biotech, professional services, staffing, crafts, resale. There's no real connection. It's just kind of has happened. So it wasn't really planned either. So, but that's the truth. That's what happened.
Well, this is fantastic. Now, I've built 3 agencies and I've exited 1. And so I have a couple theses or first principles that I teach people, and yours is different. So I'd like to learn from you. Mine have all followed the same track. I'm a believer that you spend a lifetime growing a network around an ideal customer profile. Mine has been around chief revenue officers, chief marketing officers, and founders. And I kind of continue to open up businesses that serve that same buyer. Maybe talk to the audience in and around as you've been opening up businesses. You and I were talking about some difficult changes that have happened, especially around email and email marketing and deliverability. Talk about, though, what are some of your first principles? What are some of your consistencies that happen from business to business that are universal?
So I think it starts with the passion for your idea, right? Because I've always believed, and you've heard this term a million times, build it and they will come, right? So, if you see the opportunity and you understand the differentiator that you can offer somebody compared to what's in the current market, you can move forward, right, with an idea and have it be quite successful. And I always think it's interesting too, because we work with a lot of, at my software company, we have a lot of small businesses. And a lot of people think, oh, I can't sell a small business, a business under $1 million that's generating under $1 million. And you'd be surprised how many people will buy a business under $1 million. So, don't question what your buyer's intent is. You can exit any business you want to exit, and you can sell anything that you've created.
Yeah, and there's so many marketplaces that have emerged. Like if there's a conference called MicroConf, and it's just dedicated to those that have created, the 700,000 ARR software company, as an example.
Yep.
And okay, so your first principle has been dedicated around you having the passion because you're about to go on a journey, and you don't know if that journey is going to be 12 months or 12 years long. What have been some of the difficulties then? If we think of the inverse, what have been some of the biggest difficulties? Because you do have a disparate ICP. So in some cases, you're building a network from scratch around that ICP, ideal customer profile. Talk about some of the difficulties of having a portfolio that isn't always interconnected.
Well, I think it's actually easier than you think, because you actually learn from one thing to the next. That's actually how I started my software company, was because I had a resale store that I started because I had a lot of stuff in my closet. I didn't just want to donate it. It was expensive things. Couldn't find a good consignment store to take it to where I lived. So I was like, I can start an online consignment store. This is easy, right? I did it 3 days, got it up and running, did the website, got it all together, and started selling. We were selling, thousands of dollars a day, right? So it was very successful, but the software was terrible. So I learned that the software was terrible because our biotech company had far different options available for the software that we needed to run that. So when you think about how a business runs and what you need, having businesses in multiple industries actually opened up a lot of opportunity to learn that software in the resale industry had been left behind by technology. These people had not been looked at in years. Now it's a hot area. Right now it's like, oh yes, Poshmark, all these different companies, right? The technology that we have is strong enough that someone, if they were so inclined, could start their own Poshmark on our system, right? So, or what's the sneaker one? StockX, right? So we can do a lot of different things just out of the box with the subscription software. So I think, when you talk about ideal customer profile for each of them from a marketing perspective, yeah, they are different. But the operations of running a business, right, on the backside, a lot of it is the same. So staff, human resources is the most expensive one. That's actually the hardest one. When you and I were talking about outsourcing
But
and
you just took my
that sort of
question. That's
stuff. I'm
amazing.
sorry.
You just gave the best transition ever,
There you go.
because that's
You're welcome.
literally where I was going to take it.
You're welcome.
So continue.
So, the best person for the job that you need may not be sitting local to you, right? And the idea that you can find those people, and there is software PS available for this now, to find people, right, that can help you, and to be able to outsource items that are repeatable to somebody else so that you don't have to do them. If you can get the same or better results, what's the value of your time, right? How much do I want to pay myself versus how much will I pay somebody else to do this work? I think that's kind of the analysis that I go through for what we outsource, and it runs the full gamut: bookkeeping, telemarketing, lead gen, research, internet research, whatever that might be. Everybody's got a different thing that they can outsource, and if you figure it out, then you can be efficient at it.
And one of our customers, I was at a event called Collective 54, which is it's an EO group only dedicated to founders of professional services companies.
Mm-hmm.
And it was in Dallas, Texas a couple of weeks ago. And one of my customers was there, and we sat down at a table, and he was telling other people about his offshoring journey. And he said, obviously when I signed up to acquire offshore talent, I knew about the labor arbitrage. I knew I would save money, but there were some downstream effects that were really profound. One, as an example, in my agency, because we run 2 shifts a day,
Mm-hmm.
not only were they doing things during the day as we
Mm-hmm.
were giving tasks, but I would wake up, and because they have a team that's working overnight,
Mm-hmm.
I was getting things done at a velocity I'd never seen before. And what it did is it had our other teammates. Originally, we started in the customer success department, but now other teammates are throwing, we call the $5 an hour tasks at this
Mm-hmm.
teammate. And it's the big thing that has changed is, like, it's harder to measure around employee morale, like your
Mm-hmm.
onshore employee morale. But what will become noticeable over time is around employee retention.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you think about it, you hire, a millennial as an example, and they have this dream of working on these cool strategic things. And then you keep throwing them crap work, and they get bogged down in that crap work. And then a year in, this is where they get really disenfranchised, and they end up leaving the business because they said, like, I thought I was going to work on marketing strategy.
Right.
And it turns out you had me scrubbing a database. And
Right.
so he said that was the big, obviously it's made him question, the opportunity cost of every new role that comes up in his business. But the big thing is I get to keep my onshore teammates way happier than they were before. So
Right.
maybe talk a little bit about what offshoring has done, maybe in those secret pockets of your business, maybe obviously beyond the labor arbitrage that maybe others aren't thinking about.
Sure. I've had a very successful relationship with a person who's been with us for almost 4 years now, who's been able to adjust the schedule, right? To your point, they work overnight while we're working during the day. As long as you're clear about what needs to get done, it's very easy. Um, and that the cash outlay is less than half. It's less than half what I would spend to have someone local. I probably would have had to have had 3 people in that time frame, right? Because they quit in a year. So, But I think things like lead generation and research and things like that, it's very easily done if you as the person are willing to train the resource on what exactly you want, and you're mindful of the work product you're getting back, and you're treating them just as if they sit next to you, right? You can actually probably get better return on your investment in some cases.
Yeah, absolutely. Last question before we wrap up. Tell us a little bit about what you're working on to maybe improve yourself or your business. Where do you see the puck going, so to speak, in all your businesses? Some people like to think about how they turn uh, skills, the competencies that they might not have that are fully baked out yet, and they're going to work on those in the future. Or maybe explain where you're going to focus your energy in the next year or so.
Um, Finalizing another exit that's in process now, and then doing mostly executive coaching, truthfully. So I do a lot of executive coaching and leadership coaching and business development coaching. So with a lot of different types of professional services people. So they do have almost every call I have with those people, they're looking at I need more people to do something. We talk about offshoring and outsourcing all the time, certain things. Social media is a big one right now. It's like the necessary evil. If you're not doing it, you're not seen as relevant, and if you're doing it, it's taking a lot of time. So that's a great one. When I think about offshoring and how I want to free up my time, that's a big one.
Fantastic. Well, how do people reach you if they want to get a hold of you?
Oh my gosh, go to my LinkedIn profile, Carolyn Thompson. So
That's
that's
how I
the
found you.
easiest way.
Yeah.
Yes, that's how you found me. So that's the easiest one. So they can go to you and see who you're connected to. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, that's the easiest way. So I also have a personal website, carolynthompson.net. You can reach me there too.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for being on the show.
Sure. It's good to meet you.
Good to meet you.